Good afternoon. Not yet. Good afternoon. Tony Dottino, founder of the USA Memory Championship, and happy to be with you back on the USA Memory Championship website. It's been a couple of weeks of trying to figure out what I might have done in switching off from the USA Memory Championship over to A. Dottino, and finally got some help on that yesterday, and I am back to the USA Memory Championship website to at least let people know what is going on with our memory championship. And it so happens, it is this Saturday. We host 5 events online so that we didn't have to bring people during the COVID years into an auditorium or into a conference facility, and we would be able to do it virtually on online applications. So our folks with Memory League were a big help to us. We initially had Lumosity as well, but Lumosity's got some reorganizing or reworking they're doing, and we will not have them with us this year. But we do have Memory League with us, and fortunately for us, we've got Simon, who is willing to get up at some godly hour from Australia and host the event and do the scoring and allow us to find from the competitors that will be signing on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. We have people that will compete to take 12 spots that will then create the live championship rounds here in Winter Park, Florida, at Full Sail University, where we will put them through 4 events to determine who is our 26th USA Memory Champion. So that is what is going on in terms of the Memory Championship. I'm happy to announce that we've got a variety of competitors that go from adults to teens, and we're set to go this Saturday at 11:30 on Zoom. And with that, we'll start off with the Memory League events and do the scoring and announce our finalists. So that will be this Saturday. Now, I want to clear up one thing. We have a memory championship to demonstrate. Now, why do we have a memory championship? Well, years ago when I started this, and I was starting to learn through the work I was doing in the neuroscience world, that memory is a skill that is part of our cognitive fitness. Okay, so we say, well, gee, wait a minute. Cognitive fitness? What the heck is that all about? Well, cognitive fitness is the general idea of what it means when you've picked up a report and you look at the term fitness and cognitive function that has memory as a key component. And so to me, memory is the first piece of it. And what I wanted to demonstrate to people through the competition is that there are skills that are available to you that you can learn and develop and actually improve your memory regardless of your age. And I thought, through a seminar I had gone to, it was like, if you want to get this on TV, or you want to get it into the news media, or you want to get it to periodicals and magazines and things, do something for the first time. And so I said, okay, I'll have a memory championship. And I had some help in getting that started with the museum group, and became a co-author with Tony Buzan. And he came to New York and helped us run our first USA Memory Championship. Well, let me just say, memory is a part of cognitive function, but that cognitive function all talks about reasoning, learning, problem solving, processing the things that you hear, you speak about, and making decisions about. And so the broad spectrum of cognitive fitness has got a whole diversity of comprehension, utilization, and application to it. But to me, one of the core elements that gets all of that rolling is, do you remember the things that you're talking about? Do you remember the decisions that you're making and the impact that it's having on people? are you able to be creative and come up with solutions to problems? So it was a diversity of cognitive functions that, to me, all kicked off with, can you absorb information? Can you then store it for retention? I mean, if you couldn't, if you saw something and just went, as we say, one ear and went out the other, as we say to kids sometimes, that wouldn't be a hell of a lot of fitness. That wouldn't be any cognitive functions at all. And so what we would do is use what we call executive function in our brains to say, okay, as I'm absorbing information, I first of all need to take it in, then I need to retain it. So what information do I retain? And how am I retaining it? And then as I retain it and go about my life day by day, can I recall it? Can I retrieve it and recall it in a moment that I need? So a simple example is we're meeting people all the time, and we have an event called Names and Faces. Can we teach people how to improve the way they remember the names and faces of people that they're meeting all the time? And certainly salespeople want to be able to do this. People in the social networking world want to be able to do this. People that are in any form of relationships want to be able to do this. And so there's an event that we have called Names and Faces, and we give them pictures of people, and they have to remember and retain in a period of time what the names and faces of the people that they meet are all about. And that's a skill that you can actually improve. And so people like, oh God, how many people we meet? I always remember the first time we had one of our mental athletes talk about, so how did I remember the names and faces of the people that I just saw in the competition on these sheets of paper that we got? And the audience we had a couple hundred people at the Con Ed Edison Auditorium at the time, and I remember the room went dead silent. All of a sudden, the chatter and the talking that was going on, we're listening to one of our mental athletes describe how he just remembered over 100 names and faces of the pictures that they had been given and shown. And it was like dead silence in terms of how that was being done. And everybody in the audience was like, God, can I learn that? Is that something I can learn to do? And we obviously were in New York City at the time. We had people that are interested in that skill, because you meet a few people in New York City just walking on the streets. Now, you don't need to stop and talk to all of them, but you certainly meet people in the business world, in the social world, the community networks in New York City, that you may want to remember their names, and it may be more than one or two people. And so how did someone just do this and remember over 100 names of people that they were looking at in terms of the features and the unique characteristics of their face, and then how did they chunk and put their name attached to the object in their face so they could link what they were looking at in terms of a person's facial features and connect it with their name in some linking, connecting system, and then look at that face without a name attached to it and recall it, retrieve it, and then be able to utilize it at a future time. And so that got us going in terms of there are skills that you can learn, regardless of your age, that can help you to improve remembering names and faces. And we expanded that to, okay, numerics. Can you remember the numerics that you're being shown? Pricing of things, the numerics of what you're in your checking account, what bills you may owe. We use numerics all day long. We're hearing about numbers all day long. We had an event then we put together called the Tea Party, which combined a series of events. And so the history of the Tea Party came from being on HDNet television. They were looking for an event that people at home could observe and play along with the mental athletes. So we created the Tea Party event, and the Tea Party is 3 strikes and you're out. And what that was all about is that you could meet people, hear their names, and listen to information about them. Maybe it was their phone number, so we mixed phone numbers in there, a listing of things, what were their favorite foods. We put what their favorite pet was, maybe an automobile. So we mixed in information with words and numbers, and they had to listen to a person introduce themselves on stage, retain that, and then we would randomly put these people back on stage, and the mental athletes would have to go down through an elimination competition that if they didn't remember a name, or they didn't remember a phone number, or they didn't remember hobbies, if they missed on three different people, or three different data bits of information, they were eliminated from the competition. And that became a crowd favorite because people could watch that and say, hey, God, could I do that? Can I go through that? And how do these people remember so much of this information? And so that's been our 25 years of taking the principle of anyone can improve their memory, given first the belief that you can, the willingness to learn what the skills are, the willingness to then practice those skills, and then, of course, apply them and use them in everyday life. And so in a few more days, we will be running our 26th event this coming Saturday, July the 12th, I think it is. Let me keep my dates squared away here. July the 12th. We'll be kicking that off on Zoom, and then the big day is August 23rd, which will go out on YouTube by the 24th, and we're off and running. So everyone have a wonderful day today. We're at the middle of the week, and I'll be back out here again on Friday.